Welcome back to the Laurence McKenna channel, where we are on our way to 100k by the Qatar World Cup. We're hoping, at least. And you know what? Videos like this, where we actually look at what's going on rather than just reactionary knee-jerk reactions, are a huge part of what we want to do. So if you want more of this, hit subscribe. 58% of the people who watch aren't subscribed. So I don't know where you're coming from, but please do hit subscribe. Liverpool have just lost at Old Trafford. It was a resounding win for Manchester United, and as I think Klopp said, and a couple of other people, I felt the same as well, Erik ten Hag was sort of due a result like this, where things begin to click for him, the players begin to realise what's really going on, and the other side is probably left a bit despondent and a little bit freaked out, because in the previous game, Manchester United looked like a completely different side. But again, I think there's a real issue here with this Liverpool side, and we're kind of looking at what is going on in this Liverpool team. I said it on the live stream and I'll say it again. There are elements of this side where you go, that's the same guy, but he's trying to do the same thing, but it's not quite working in the same way. And that is a symptom of a lot of different things going on at Liverpool right now. Now, first of all, it's a symptom of the fact that I think the squad turnover has been quite slow, and it's very difficult to turn over a lot of players within one summer. I get that. But you can still make some statements out there in the transfer market and maybe give a few statements within the squad at Liverpool. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is injured. There are a number of other players in this Liverpool side that are injured that aren't going to be doing a job for Liverpool right now, including the likes of Keita. But then there are players that Liverpool want to do a job for them. In Thiago, this whole side has been reshaped around getting that midfield to be more functional, with especially Thiago. And without him in the side, it doesn't seem like they have as much creativity within the team. That must really frustrate Liverpool, but especially Jurgen Klopp and Pep Lingers, who are probably going to be saying, I don't know how we can play Hendo, Milner and whoever else in any of our midfields again this season. And I get it, like Hendo and Milner still very much have a role within the squad. But if you look beyond that, is it together? Probably not. There were too many people who didn't quite know what the structure of this Liverpool side was tonight. And I get it, as a 4-3-3, at times it looked more like a 4-4-2. And actually it looked more like a 4-2-2-2 because Firmino dropped so deep and Harvey Elliott was sort of ahead of that midfield that no one was ever quite in the position to really put pressure on Varane or Martinez. And they were actually in really favourable positions for Liverpool. Liverpool could have cut the ball back a number of times, could have had times where if they'd have had a striker in the box, would have caused a bit more chaos, would have asked a few more questions. I'll get onto that in just a second. But we get back to the turnover of the team. Liverpool at the moment are suffering from injuries, and that is one aspect of the knee-jerk reaction here. You can't turn over a full team and expect to just keep buying players every time that someone goes out. Konate isn't necessarily very injury-prone. Matip actually hasn't been in the side all that much when he has had these issues that he's had that are recurring and recurring. Again, there's a special injury there with him. Thiago, again, injured. Fabinho, again, not looking 100% sharp. Hendo, not quite at it this season. Milner, great health, but all over the place and almost trying to do too much at different points, to the point where the side look a little bit thrown off by that. And then there is the fitness of people maybe like Virgil van Dijk, who people are sort of going, There is that knee-jerk reaction, by the way, for the first goal. First of all, Van Dijk has got Milner in front of him, skidding across. You've got a guy going to the guy. Maybe he could have closed him down a little bit sooner, but also Van Dijk doesn't know that behind him, Alisson dived on the floor to one side and has left the whole side of the goal wide open. It's not Virgil van Dijk's fault, but I'm sure that your hashtag of Virgil van Disney, certainly one that leaves you satisfied and gets you those likes. So if it does, congratulations, you're crap at analysis. The other side of that would be Joe Gomez coming back tonight. I think Joe Gomez was probably one of the more solid players, but he had a few times where he dived in, missed the ball either went up and, he didn't claim the ball, and therefore it was just open to, skip up and go wherever. And then I think both Liverpool's fullbacks are sort of confused with what their position is within this side. They need a structured midfield in order for the rest of this to work. And the structure comes from having Hendo on one side, often, having Thiago on the other, a little bit more creative, and having Fabinho at the foot of that, either to be able to drop in or bring things forward. Hendo drops back. Liverpool don't know which players are dropping back, which players are going forward, clearly. Because when you look at the average positions in the first half from Liverpool, Salah and Diaz are very advanced. Firmino's extremely deep with Harvey Elliott. And we're still not quite sure where Trent and everyone else are going. Trent going forward, I don't have any worries about, right? I think Trent going forward is fantastic. But if we don't know what his overall position is, where his mean position is, and what he's meant to be doing at the back, and how's that structured, I don't see how there can be a structure to the Liverpool side, which relies so much on these guys to know those kind of positions, for it to feel intuitive. You forget that when Klopp first came in, he was talking about Liverpool playing with their stomachs, not with their heads, not with their hearts, with their stomachs. He talks about playing from the gut, being able to take the ball out and know exactly where everyone else is. So for them to be reforming this side around Thiago, which they did do, and it made Liverpool look very good, but when he was injured, it was a real issue, is concerning. And that's not my hot take. There are a couple of analysts, including Sam Maguire on Twitter, who's a great Liverpool analyst, and a couple of other people who kind of have this worry that without the experience and creative input of someone like Thiago, the side looks different. It's easy for people to go, now Mane's gone, this is what Liverpool are. Sure, I don't really know how different it is tonight with Mane, although I'd like to see Mane out on the left, because I do think at the moment Liverpool's complete left side is nullified, not only because Thiago isn't there, but also because you've got Luis Diaz immediately ahead of that, who isn't quite knowing whether he's running at the back line, cutting inside, what his position is, again without Nunez, which they seem to have been working on a lot. And Andy Robertson just seems to be a little bit blunted right now. There's not much end product to a lot of the stuff he has going forward. Sure, he has some good crosses from set pieces, but that's very different. And going back, I still think part of Virgil van Dijk's issue at the moment is that he doesn't seem to be feeling the same kind of protection from Andy at the back. On top of that, sure, Liverpool are turning this team over right now, and I do believe that they will get in some expensive, probably what we would call statement signings. Not this summer, though. And it could be another summer, where we're basically going, oh, this is fantastic. But it could be another summer where we're left saying, we should have invested more, we should have turned the squad over. And I appreciate Klopp's optimism and everyone's optimism within the side, but I don't know how much longer we can continue like this as Liverpool. We bought Nunez, fantastic. But if you're going to try and move things forward, it can't just be with just one player coming in, especially if someone as significant as Mane leaves and other players are aging. Now, there are too many people being reactionary and saying, is the squad all too old? I think having these experienced players within the squad is important. If you've got your Firminos, your Hendersons, your Milners, your Van Dijks, those are all experienced players. If on the opposite side you have that Harvey Elliott, probably even players like Trent, people like Fabio Carvalho coming through, people who need to know what this Liverpool side is. That's important. That's a great contrast between those two sets of players. But the sad thing is then when Fabio Carvalho comes on, he looks like the player who's able to progress the ball the most. He looks like the one who's able to hook things up much better. His footwork is better than most other people. And Fabio Carvalho and Harvey Elliott looked good. There was good attacking pieces. But that was it. There was so little end product to what they were doing anytime they were out on the pitch, anytime they were going forward, because no one really seemed to know what they were working towards. And frankly, it was the same when Nunez was on the pitch as well. They want to get the ball to Nunez, but then when he does get it, they don't quite know what the end product is. They're trying to work themselves into positions. It nullifies Salah. It nullifies Luis Diaz. So while people have got all these hot takes about the transfer window, etc., I get that. Sure, it's lovely to turn over a squad in such a way, and the City are in the middle of that. They bought Haaland's great statement signing, but if you then have these injuries on top of that, and no one's making an excuse that everyone has to deal with injuries, it's going to nullify and take away from elements of what Liverpool are trying to achieve there. So there are going to be all these reactionary, knee-jerk reactions tonight. Alisson I thought was fantastic. Virgil van Dijk I did think was very good. But there are going to be people going, Virgil van Disney, there's going to be loads of people coming out with ridiculous statements about needing to turn over so many different players. Everyone has their worth within this team, but it comes down to the way they're being played right now. And I think that falls more on Klopp than it does on the players. Earlier on in the season, mind, I do think that was different. And I think Liverpool, we can talk about that mentality for a second. Liverpool went into this game probably a little arrogant, thinking, Liverpool came here and won 5-0 last year. What is it going to be this year? Carragher was living it up online. Loads of other Liverpool fans saying, I see a massive win. No. Manchester United were all over the place. Liverpool played a shell of a team last season. You're playing a team this season who are coming back, who are on the rise under Erik ten Hag. You're never going to get another 5-0 at Old Trafford in this time. It's ridiculous to even think that you can even begin to imagine that. So don't contrast these two things because they are not the same level of comparison. And again, don't really warrant much analysis beyond that. But people will be saying that because it's good banter. And remember, if you say for long enough that a team will fall off, yeah, a team will fall off at the end. If you say it for 3 seasons in a row, they lost this guy, this guy, this guy. That's what's been happening everywhere online. So don't go out there biting all these people who don't know what they're talking about when it comes to Liverpool. Liverpool will get a few players back and it will massively improve. And people will feel stupid about the way that they were speaking about Liverpool. But at the same time, there is an issue with people who are going to be doomsday and doomsayers? gloomy people overall who have got this idea that Klopp is going to become maybe Poch or someone like that. Poch had lost that team. Klopp has not lost this side yet. AVB, no. Poch, no. Klopp is different with him. There's a different relationship here between those players and him. Now, Klopp did lose it at some point at Borussia Dortmund. This again feels a little bit different to that because, well, this side is just a different team. And I think turning it over is always going to be a challenge. But there maybe are some comparisons. Maybe we should go down that route for a second. If you were to lose a Lewandowski or someone like that, is that equivalent to Mane? If a couple of your players are looking a little bit stale and you've been very loyal to them, which Klopp and Pep Lingers have definitely been, especially if you read Pep's book, then what do you do about that? How do you solve that problem? And whilst loyalty is a very likeable quality, how well does it work when you're trying to turn a team over? When you're trying to bring in some new players? By the way, there was still hope when Liverpool came on. Liverpool were trying to push for a 2-2 here. The fact is, though, it just shouldn't have been going for a 2-2 at any point. Liverpool should have been trying to control this side. They should have been trying to put pressure on, like the identity of this team is. There is an element of lacking of identity, and people are going to put it down to being lazy or a change in mentality, and I do think there is a change in mentality, but they're going to put it down to laziness or any of these things. I don't think Liverpool currently feel like they know 100% what they're trying to do out on the pitch. They're still trying to make things click together. Clicked against City. Great. They had a lot of players fit there. It looked fantastic. When they get a couple more players back, things will change. The problem is the lack of pragmatism in this team right now. The problem is the fact that there will be knee-jerk reactions online. The problem is that ramps up the pressure immediately because people are expecting a title charge from Liverpool this season because they pushed City last season. That's another big aspect of this. Fitness. Liverpool were exhausted after playing every game possible last season. I don't really know how much of a pre-season they've really had in there. I think they've still been letting a lot of those players recover. You can see a lot of them have lost quite a lot of that muscle mass and they're going to be looking to rebuild that. But there's also a couple of players in there who are clearly feeling a bit of a hangover from last season, maybe a hangover emotionally as well. Again, not an excuse, just analysis. So there are a lot of different reasons to say that things aren't going well at Liverpool right now. That a lot of that falls on Klopp's shoulders, and he will bear a lot of that responsibility for players' fitness, players maybe burning out, players being emotionally where they are, players not necessarily knowing what their role is within the side, or not being able to bring it out in the best way and to be able to complete their task in the way that they'll want to. Mo Salah came good too late for Liverpool tonight, and it was a decent goal, sure, but it didn't come from Liverpool's system. So while we're busy slagging off and saying Liverpool do need to turn this squad over, which some of it, stale is probably the wrong word, but Liverpool do need to turn this team over a little, if not quite a lot. It's not about age. It's just about the tools that Liverpool have got. Age is not really the factor here. It's actually just about how they want to play. Liverpool need to be sure of that. They need to coach that better. And they're not the only side suffering from it. But again, not every side was going for the title or thinking they were going for the title at the start of the season. This Liverpool team isn't over. They are evolving though. And you remember when they started playing that high line, things changed at Liverpool. There was an element of confusion. There was an element of unsure. I think this is the same this season at Liverpool. I think in the end, Klopp comes good. It's whether he gets that time, the patience, and whether the fans are going to remain on his side for long enough for him to enact that, especially if people start to believe that we're over-reliant on certain players who maybe, some people believe, have had better days. Let me know in the comments below what you think Klopp should do with all those guys. I hope 58% of you are subscribing. It's good to have you new to the channel. Really appreciate it. I'll see you again soon right here on the Laurence McKenna channel.